The mold that wasn't supposed to matter. London, 1928. The city was restless, industrial, alive. But inside a quiet laboratory at St. Mary's Hospital, everything felt still. Glass bottles lined the shelves. Microscopes waited under dim light. Petri dishes sat scattered across a wooden bench, some neatly labeled, others forgotten. Among them worked a Scottish bacteriologist named Alexander Fleming. He wasn't famous. He wasn't chasing glory. He was studying something invisible, bacteria that quietly killed thousands every year. At the time, even a minor infection could become a death sentence. A small cut, a sore throat, a routine surgery. There were no true antibiotics. Only hope. Fleming had spent years searching for substances that might weaken harmful microbes. Most experiments failed. Most results were ordinary. Then he left for a short vacation. No dramatic music. No sense of destiny. Just a scientist locking his lab and stepping into the London air. When he returned in September, the lab looked exactly as he had left it. Slightly disordered, papers stacked loosely, cultures resting where they shouldn't have been. And then he noticed it. One petri dish had been contaminated. A patch of mold had spread across the surface. Normally, this meant one thing: failure. Contamination ruined experiments. It wasted time. But this contamination was different. Around the mold, there was a clear circle. Perfect halo. The bacteria surrounding it had vanished. Not slowed down. Not damaged. Erased. Fleming leaned closer. He adjusted the light. He looked again through the microscope. The mold wasn't just sitting there. It was fighting, quietly releasing something that dissolved the bacteria nearby. He could have discarded it. Many scientists would have. Instead, he isolated the mold and began testing it. It belonged to a species later identified as Penicillium notatum, and the substance it produced would soon be named penicillin. At first, the discovery seemed promising but incomplete. Fleming proved it could kill certain bacteria. He published his findings in 1929. And then, almost nothing happened. The medical community showed little excitement. The compound was unstable, difficult to produce, hard to purify. For nearly a decade, penicillin remained a scientific curiosity, a strange laboratory observation with no immediate future. But history has a way of revisiting unfinished ideas. In the late 1930s and early 1940s, as World War II spread across continents, infected wounds killed more soldiers than gunfire. Hospitals overflowed. Septicemia claimed lives rapidly. That forgotten mold suddenly mattered. A team of scientists in Oxford, Howard Florey, Ernst Chain, and their colleagues revisited Fleming's work. They refined the extraction process. They stabilized the compound. They made it usable. By 1944, penicillin was being mass-produced. On the battlefields of Europe, soldiers who once would have died from minor infections began to survive. Doctors witnessed recoveries that had been impossible only years before. Medicine had crossed a line, from helpless observation to effective intervention. All because a contaminated dish wasn't thrown away. The most fascinating part of this story isn't just the accident. It's the awareness. Laboratories everywhere experience contamination. Mold grows. Experiments fail. But not every scientist stops to observe the failure closely. Fleming did. He saw order inside what looked like chaos. A random airborne spore likely drifted through an open window and landed on that culture plate. It settled in the exact environment it needed. Temperature, nutrients, timing, everything aligned. A fragile chain of coincidence. And yet, coincidence alone does not change. Attention does. Penicillin did not emerge from brilliance alone. It emerged from patience, curiosity, and the refusal to ignore an anomaly. Before antibiotics, childbirth carried terrifying risks. A scratched knee could turn fatal. Pneumonia and scarlet fever filled graveyards. After penicillin, medicine entered a new era. Survival rates soared. Surgery became safer. Life expectancy increased. Today, antibiotics are routine, prescribed casually, expected. It's easy to forget that modern medicine once depended on a mold growing quietly in a forgotten dish. Fleming later said, "Chance favors the prepared mind." He understood something simple but powerful. Luck visits many people. Only a few recognize it. In that quiet London laboratory, history did not explode into existence. It grew silently, microscopically, unnoticed by the world, until someone looked closer. And perhaps that is the deeper lesson behind the discovery of penicillin. Breakthroughs rarely arrive announcing themselves. Sometimes they appear as contamination, as disorder, as interruption, and sometimes the future of humanity waits patiently, in the corner of a dirty dish.